Okay, shall we call this meeting to order? We are at 7:02. There we go. So first order of business is approval of minutes of May 2nd. Looked them over, they looked okay.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the May meeting.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, we can move on. I did not get a updated tax collector's report, but we did have a record as of the last Board of Finance meeting. Record collections. I think our overall property is 98 point something, like one of the highest we've ever seen. So that continues to go good. And then, although I don't have today's numbers, and then we have communications from the public is next.
Okay.
So Joe.
Hey, everybody. How are you?
Good. Hi, Joe.
You'll have to bear with me a little bit. We all have COVID over here.
Oh, no.
Oh, man, what a doozy this has been. So we all,
Mhm.
the kids kind of got it last week, and now Meredith and I have it.
Oh,
My son, Philip, he laughed at COVID. I mean, he had it for 2 days and it was gone, but Meredith and I are struggling a little bit, but I didn't want to miss the meeting.
Sorry to hear that.
Although the Rangers made the playoffs, tonight's game 4, so we're happy about that. We've got that going for us. Yeah. So there's an upside to everything. I wanted to come chat with you guys. I asked Patrick to put me on the agenda so that we may possibly be able to have a conversation about maybe breeding some economic vitality into our downtown. Meredith came back from, well, she came home one night last week with this amazing container of ice cream. And so I had this container of ice cream. So where did you get this ice cream? And she said, I got it from the market. And I couldn't help but think that it was the best ice cream I've ever had. And I realized that, you know, for many of us that are on the call tonight, we've experienced, I think, a multitude of, you know, owners at the market. And I feel like we finally have somebody that is doing well there. The place is spotless. It's a beautiful store. They have everything that you need. And then I thought Roxbury is, for the most part, kind of founded on agriculture. And I mean, we even have a book, Tractor Mac, written here in Roxbury with the farm tractor, right? So then I thought, wouldn't it be great to maybe come to you guys and see what your thoughts are on potentially having like a weekend farmers market and see if we can get some folks to town. You know, we've got that Munson Meadow. I don't know all the details on it, but we could mow out a little section there. And I thought it could also be a potential revenue stream for the town, because I know most towns, they rent out those little 20 by 20 spots at their farmers market. Usually they're local farmers, which we have, in my opinion, some of the best farmers around. We have some really great farms. But, you know, if folks wanted to come from out of the community into our farmers market, there would be some potential, potential revenue stream for that. But it would bring people to town. It seems like Saturdays and Sundays in Roxbury are pretty popular days. And I thought it would be great if we had the opportunity for folks to go to our downtown and pretty much get everything that they need on a weekend without having to leave. They can grab some vegetables. You know, we've got the running group that comes in, they hit the market. And it would just breed some vibrancy and some economic vitality to downtown. So I wanted to kind of come and, you know, present that to you guys, see what your thoughts were. I mean, obviously it's not something that happens overnight, you know, it would require some effort, but I couldn't think of a better group of people to put that together than you guys. I mean, I just think that, you know, every other town around kind of has one of those. If we figure out times and dates of when other towns are having it, we can maybe work around those. But I thought it'd be great for Roxbury.
okay.
Well, thank you, Joe. I appreciate that. How many, farmers vendors do you think we could get? Because I know some of them, they have different places that they go to already. Some take their merchandise to into the city as well.
Mhm.
And I know we had tried this before and we had a few vendors when it happened. I just wonder how many we think we could get and if this is going to be,
It's a real good question, Patrick. So, I've been in communication with some other farmers that run farmers markets locally.
Mhm.
For example, the Kent Farmers Market, a woman by the name of Ellie, who sits on farmland and forest preservation for the town of New Milford, runs that farmers market. And I've had the opportunity to speak to several of their vendors. And the general consensus is that they're always looking for other venues. And they're pretty well diversified. So, there's one woman that sells all different types of honeys. She's from Dover. Another woman sells homemade fresh salsas. She grows only tomatoes. So there's a lot of people out there that I think really don't have a venue. There's a lot of farmers out there that don't have their own farm stand or farmers market or farm market, I should say, that are always looking to take advantage of a venue space. So one thing that I think Roxbury has going for it that a lot of towns don't have going for it is that we have the room. We have the room, and we've got some great scenery. Kent's Farmers Market is literally in a abandoned gravel parking lot. Nothing against it. It's a great farmers market. They have great vendors, but I mean, boy, we've got the makings for something special. And on top of that, some thought can be given to a couple times a year, adding some pizzazz to that. There's always the opportunity to have, some music or an event or something like that and get people to town. I mean, I know many of you probably remember old Roxbury days. That was really something. And it was a tremendous amount of work, right? So times have changed a little bit, but something like this might breed a little bit of what that used to be back into the community, in my opinion.
I remember during the last POCD, the town of Plan of Conservation Development, it was brought up actually as one of the possibilities for the center of town, just like you're suggesting. And at the time, and we'd have to ask the current people running the businesses, the farms in town, but at the time they weren't interested in participating because they wanted people to come. Maple Bank wanted them to go there, and
Mhm.
Blins were off and running into other places like they're in New Milford on Saturday morning. So I guess that's certainly a question to re-ask. It's been a few years, to see what they think.
Sure.
I think most important is to make sure that whatever does happen doesn't impede their ability to make their own, their own money.
Sure.
So that it's not in conflict with that. But, it's certainly something to investigate and see what can happen with it.
Yeah, and of course, if the Board of Selectmen feels as though that may be something that would impede on our farmers. I mean, there are a lot of farmers in town. Some have a venue, a lot of them don't. We're one of them, right? We don't have a farm stand in town. We would love to participate in something like that. If the girls could go down there and participate in that, they would love to do that. And I think there's others like that too. So, but even if that's something that's not possible, then let's put our creative thinking caps on and see what can we do to breed some economic vitality into that beautiful little downtown that we have, and of course, in the same token, drive some business to our other small businesses. We've got gas to be bought at Sparky's over there. We've got sandwiches and knickknacks. And quite frankly, the Roxbury market has become, kind of like our welcoming center of sorts, because you walk in there and they've got Roxbury, Connecticut shirts, and it's a nice little place, right? And so I'm just thinking, how can we drive some businesses to our other small businesses in the same token, right? So that's what I wanted to come talk to you guys about tonight. Just start a conversation about that and see where it heads.
Well, I was already writing down, I was thinking of, Ox Hollow and even Richard Crowley, Riverbank, Maple Bank, we could start asking around because like I said, I know we had a history with it before and it kind of fell by the wayside. And, I want it to be successful, obviously for
Absolutely.
everybody. So I don't mind asking those questions. If this is something, I think it might be nice to set up some form of committee because that'd be a lot of work to start
A lot of
contacting
work.
outside vendors and to start to do that, but I'm not opposed to it.
Yep, and I'm happy to give you the contacts that I have that
Okay.
I've been discussing this with and working with. I'm happy to hand that over to if it starts to come to fruition and we're looking for vendors. I have a small list going already where I think people
Perfect.
would be interested, So that's all I've got. Thanks, guys. I
I
appreciate
appreciate it, Joe. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thanks,
Hope you
guys.
feel better.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks.
My
We'll
God.
see you guys later. Thank you.
All right. Take care, Joe.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, next we're on to, unless there's any other communications from the public. Okay, we'll move on. Next is Board of Selectmen commissions and board appointments. First is Conservation Committee, vacancy expiring 6/30/2023. I did speak to Lorenzo. They are close to making a decision, I hope. They have a meeting tomorrow night. So that will be forwarded for another month. Museum Board of Trustees, I also reached out. We have had no interest in that position, so we will continue to post and continue to advertise, and hopefully we can get some interested parties. Next up is Inland Wetlands Commission, vacancy expiring 8/31/2022. And I know this is near and dear to your heart, Russ. So this position would be to nominate or put into place Lenora Glotnick.
As a permanent member.
As a
Right now,
permanent,
she's on the
yes.
commission as a alternate.
Correct.
We want to move her up to a voting member. But I will abstain because I'm chairman, so I abstain from these votes.
Okay,
So can we vote on her now?
we can, if you will make a motion.
Okay, yeah, I make a motion to move Lenora up from alternate to full member of the Wetlands Commission.
And I will second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Abstain. Okay.
Congratulations, Lenora. And the next, Inland Wetlands alternate, vacancy expiring 8/31/2002. And we have Kathy Roz, who's on the call today. So if I can get a motion for that.
Yep, I make a motion to have Kathy Roz take the alternate vacancy for the inland wetlands.
And I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Opposed? Abstained again. All opposed? Kathy, welcome aboard. Glad to have you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining the call. And then the next position is going to be for Emergency Management Director. This is expiring 12/31/2025. First off, before we even get into the nomination, I would like
Oh, actually, it was recreation was first.
Oh, is it on your agenda?
Yeah,
Okay, then I have the wrong copy. I am sorry. So Recreation Commission. Do you have the expiring on that?
yeah, 6/30/2023.
And my apologies, as I have the earlier copy. So I'd like to get a nomination for Sean Murphy
Oh.
for that position.
I'll make a motion for Sean Murphy for that position.
A second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Excellent. Congratulations, Sean. And then now we will go to Emergency Management Director. And before we actually go through with that, I would like to take a moment to just thank Bernie Meehan for so many years of service and dedication to this town. Kim and I had gone through an interview process, and we have selected Sarah Lauria as the best candidate.
Congratulations,
nomination?
Sarah.
Can I-
I'll make a
oh,
motion to nominate Sarah Laureate for emergency director position.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the motion carries. We also, the next position, and congratulations, Sarah. Look forward to working with you. Thank you. And then we have special constable. This was not placed last month because we had a shorter group, a smaller group. So this is RC 98. And this is from 5/1/2022 to 4/30/2023. And I will have to abstain from this because it is me.
I make a motion to nominate Patrick Roy as special constable, RC 98.
I'm not seconding that. I'll make a motion a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? You're getting my first ticket, Russ.
Thanks, Pat.
Good for you. All right, so on to business. So we have I was approached by Matt Similis, our resident trooper, because we are short-staffed right now as for our constables. We're running short. He is offered Rich Henlicky. He's retired State Department of Corrections, former Bridgewater constable. Right now, he's a special constable and helps out over there. But he would be used to keep our constables running shifts, and then he would be allowable for private duty. So this would open up our constables to basically just doing patrols around the town, thus giving more patrols on the street.
Sounds like a good idea, Pat.
Definitely.
Excellent.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're going to move on with that, and that is something that it actually will be a cost benefit. We will actually gain revenue from that because it's all through private.
Okay, the private duty. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
All right. Next order of business is fire department update with Todd Wheeler. You're on mute, Todd. Todd Wheeler, fire department. Okay, we can possibly come back to that if he comes back to us. Next order of business, short-term rentals in town. So,
Okay.
Kim.
Yep.
Okay.
So at our last zoning meeting, this was presented to us. We get a Connecticut Federation of Planning and Zoning Agencies is a quarterly newsletter. And in the newsletter, and this was in the attachment, I don't know.
Pull it up if you'd like.
Yeah, why don't you? I'll read it just so that, you know, because it's short. But this came up just for our perusal. Oops. I have it bigger on my screen here. So short-term rentals not permitted as a use of a single family dwelling. This is in Massachusetts. The Massachusetts Supreme Court addressed an issue that has attention of many Connecticut land use agencies. The issue is whether short-term rentals of single family dwellings would be permitted as an additional or accessory use of the property. The court found short-term rentals do not as they conflict with the intended purpose of a single family zone district, which is to have an area free of commercial transient uses and instead provide stability and permanence, which furthers the sense of community. The court also found that the short-term rental of a single family home is not the same as a lodging house or tourist home, as both of these envision that the owner of the property is present to supervise his lodgers, whereas with a short-term rental, the owner is absent. Should be noted that a short-term rental is defined as renting a dwelling for fewer than 30 days. And then this just addresses the court name. So, you know, I'm bringing it up just because I know that in the prior administration, I know you guys did talk about short-term rentals because, you know, with Jim at the time being chair of the zoning board, we were just trying to figure out what the best thing would be for the town. And I think there were some concerns. And I went through and I read some of the things going on in some other towns. Groton happened to have a good example of an ordinance that could be used. But there's two different ways to approach it if we decide to do anything. And one is through the zoning regs, which is not recommended by most, because it only goes if you want to have some kind of restrictions or registering the short-term rentals. It only puts zoning, it only goes from the date that you pass that regulation forward, right? But the ordinance is it starts with everybody. Everybody's included. So the different things that people were thinking about that would be important would be, is the building safe for people to rent? Are there smoke detectors, carbon monoxide? Is there emergency contact info? There's certain things that different towns ask people to post for people who are renting so that they understand where the emergency services are, and a bunch of other things. And so I'm just bringing it up because it did come up at zoning, and it's something we probably could talk about. A registration of those businesses, and then a small fee or some kind of fee could certainly be something to consider or talk about. That's what
Sounds like Airbnb is out, right?
Yeah. And so, the short term could be, VRBO, home, there's a home something, there's another one. And then Airbnb, there's a lot of different companies now. And some of those are the popular ones, but these are all under 30 days, and Roxbury.
We never, well, that may be in Massachusetts. I don't know if Connecticut has a.
No, it doesn't. Connecticut itself as a state does not have.
Right. So what Mass does is different, but
right.
We didn't do anything. I thought we talked about this last board, and I remember Jim bringing it up often.
Yeah, it never.
But we never moved with it.
No,
I thought we did an ordinance.
No.
Oh, okay.
So it's just something, I can pull up, even for the next meeting, just example of a couple of towns' ordinances for it. And we can just talk about the use of it and whether it would be beneficial. I think this is something just to think about going forward as there are more and more of them.
Is the intent to eliminate short-term rentals or regulate short-term rentals? Because I do like the idea of emergency contact, smoke detectors, like some of the things you brought up, I think is very important, because that is a considerable amount of properties in our town.
Right.
That's for sure. So any kind of standardization, it would be nice to have a little bit more, especially from a fire emergency services standpoint.
I mean, this town, ever since I've been here, right, has always had summer rentals and, anywhere from, 3 weeks to 3 months. And it's part of what we've always done. But, of course, the internet and the rental companies have certainly, have made this a much more widely known fact. And what towns are having trouble with is, excessive noise and people coming and going and changing the dynamic of what the residential neighborhood is. And I think that's going forward. People are concerned about that. And so I don't know that we've had issues in town, Patrick. I don't know if you've heard of anyone with noise or whatever, but it's something to think about for the future, just so that we can kind of have an idea of how many we have and that they have really thought about safety issues. And what, I don't know. That's just something to.
Yeah, now it's all coming back to me. I think we did decide to do nothing because we felt that how are we going to enforce this?
Yeah.
And I'm one who's very opposed to new regulations if you can't enforce them.
Right.
And during all this time, we've never gotten any complaints, and we know there are a lot of people using that as a way of getting more income.
Sure. Oh, I totally agree. Yeah.
So I'm not closed to the idea. I wasn't last time, but I'm cautious about over regulating and government telling me what I could do with my house.
Yep.
I mean, obviously, if you're renting to somebody, the house has to be safe for them to live in it. One concern we had though was the people doing this don't live there normally.
Right.
Like they live in somewhere else. Like I'm amazed being on wetlands, how many people where we have wetland violations aren't even in the country,
Yeah.
you know. And it's hard to get a hold of them, like you said, Kim, but so they're renting their places for when they go away
Mhm.
and they're not there. And I asked the gentleman how he lets them in and out, and everything's on the phone now.
Yep.
You know, all the locks are smart locks. You know, they have outside cameras. He was telling me to, you know, they can't have inside cameras because that's illegal, but they have outside cameras to make sure nothing funny's going on and that there are no parties and stuff like that. So it's a good, I think it's a good thing to bring up. I'm not sure that
Yeah.
I want to regulate something that be very hard to regulate. But I guess just having people register and pay a small fee and just, you're right, their contact information and uh, write down a set of rules that they have to have working smoke detectors. And that might not be a bad idea to look into.
Yeah, and I think it's really, because I'm in favor of them. I use them often enough myself. And again, this town has a history of rentals for the summer in particular. And I think that was the other thing that some of these towns did have is a local contact person. Doesn't have to be the owner, but someone local that's actually a real person that could be called and contacted and be able. Actually, one town said that there has to be someone that can get there in 120 minutes. So in a 2-hour time frame, someone physical had to be able to get there if there was a problem.
120 minutes. I'd say more like 60, no?
No, 120. So 2 hours.
Yeah,
So,
I'd say an hour.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true. But I thought, oh, well, that's interesting. At least they thought about the fact that, it's not just about having a digital person, but having a physical being that is there if there's an issue. So, but there were a lot of things that I was reading and looking up, because again, this has come up for years at zoning too. So I did say that I would bring it up
Okay.
to the board, and because the commission, we're still interested in having that discussion. So.
And to answer your questions, I have not received any complaints. At
Okay.
least, Town Hall, to my knowledge, has received no complaints on anything at this point. So
Okay.
just for the
Okay.
record.
So Kim, you're going to get some ordinances for us to kind of chew on?
Yes, and I think just a
Okay.
list of things that they are, requiring, and there might just be some common sense things that might help people out, more than anything. But it would give then the town an idea to know how many we have and where they are, and so information could be useful. So
Again,
Good idea.
like what Russ says, though, you might have somebody that, rents out a weekend or something, and then that's the only time of the year. They'll do like a one time or something. So again, if the regulation or the enforcement is, something we're going to look at, how is this going to look?
right, and sometimes some of the ordinances I saw, they have people register every year in case they decide they don't want to do it anymore. It's kind of like the park permit that we've made that change so that people can get it every year. So, not that, it has to be a fee every time, but it certainly can. But that whole idea of just saying, are you still doing it? And is this a current list? So, and that would be the check-in, So
I would be absolutely willing to entertain something. I do like I said, I do like the contact information. I like that we know basically what's going on.
but just not impeding their ability to do it, because I have
Correct.
agreement about it happening. I don't have a problem with it at all. So anyway, that's what I got on that one.
Excellent. Thank you, Kim. So we'll add that. We're going to carry that over to next month's agenda as well. And we'll discuss it further.
All right.
The next thing is parking spaces opt-out.
Okay. That's me again. So the zoning commission held a public hearing March 14th, in 2022 to propose to opt out of a, I'll read it. It's to propose opting out of the parking requirements of Public Act 21-29 for accessory dwelling units. So Roxbury right now allows 2 parking spaces per accessory apartment. And the state that 21-29 was going to limit parking spaces to 1 per accessory unit. And we didn't want that. We would rather keep it as 2.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. And generally it's 2 people and they each need a car and we have the space. It's not like we don't have the space to park. I think this was written for, bigger municipalities who don't have as much space and they wanted to make sure there was enough,
Well, it's Desegregate Connecticut, that group.
Mhm.
That's part of their
Yep.
charge. They want more tight development.
Yep,
Um,
in those spaces,
so-
especially by,
And unfortunately, they have people, the legislators, listening to them. But this is part of their whole shtick.
so, but we have the option to opt out. So we,
Yeah,
at our regular meeting held just after the public hearing, the zoning commission voted to opt out.
good.
So the next stage to that, though, is the opt-out must be ratified by the 2/3 vote of the town. I'm reading this
Yep.
from the town's legislative body or its board of selectmen if the town meeting is the legislative body. So we have to bring this to a town. Well, we have to agree that we want to opt out if that's what we want. And then it has to go to a town meeting.
Okay. Yeah,
Mhm.
see, they're making it as hard as they can.
Well, we had to do this for the granny pods too. You guys.
Right, I remember that, the
Yep.
granny pots, yes.
Got a kick out of the name of that.
And by the way, thank zoning for going ahead and doing the public hearing and all that and setting this all up. You basically set this up on a silver platter for us just to present to
Yeah.
the town meeting.
Happy to do it.
So that's fantastic. You've done half the work already. So now we would just have to take it to the town meeting, the next town meeting, and pass it by 2/3 vote, as I understand
Right.
it.
Well,
Okay, perfect.
We have
no,
to-
we have to vote. We have to vote.
And
Well,
then
So
we do to bring
I'll
it to
make a
meeting.
motion, to opt out as per the zoning board to requiring only 1 space as opposed to 2 for an accessory dwelling.
I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay,
So now we would set up a town meeting, I guess.
Right.
correct. We'll be
Do we
adding-
want to wait until we have a couple things?
Yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to bring people together just for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what's the rush? It's not
We
like,
have till October 1st to do it.
Correct.
okay.
We're just trying to make sure we get, it done and not have to rush at the end. Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, should I do the next one? I'm ready.
Yeah, keep going. I just wanted to make, here I am with
row.
my magnifying glass because I couldn't read the, and it is 10/1/22. I thought it was the end of October, but it's the 1st of October. So
Okay,
make sure that gets on the agenda.
yeah, okay, good. Okay, so next thing, Housing Plan Steering Committee. We met in May and looked at the first draft of the plan. There were a lot of great input from the committee, and I'll tell you, the committee has been just a fabulous group. They're really very thorough and thoughtful. Our next meeting is, June 16th, and we'll be looking at the second draft. I've already looked at it and I've proofed part of it with Jocelyn, and so the whole committee will look at this now. And the plan is that after this June 16th meeting, that we will have input and then make any adjustments, and that final draft will get prepared and posted to the town clerk's office and on the website, because there's a required 30-day review period for the plan. And then at a meeting at the Planning Commission, which Peter Philos, we talked to him about this already, there'll be a public forum there where we can they'd be talking about the town plan of conservation and development, that this plan meets is consistent with that. And then we get feedback from the public at that time. And then the Board of Selectmen in August, or revisions would be made. And then in August, hopefully August, the Board of Selectmen, adopt the plan. And then there'll be a town meeting to approve it.
Well, the dog's all for it.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at. That I just kind of wanted to give you a update on the procedure going forward. So,
Kim, you've done an amazing job with this plan.
Thank
You've
you.
opened a lot of creative discussion, and you've brought a lot of people together for this. So
It's been
hats
great.
off to your commitment on that.
Thank
committee.
you. I've really enjoyed it. And I'm going to give Barbara Henry the, kudos in the beginning for really bringing the group together. She brought together, and then we had an election and here we are, but she has a good group that she chose as well. So, and I think that's it.
Awesome. All right, next on the agenda, Wellers Bridge Road. So we have speed bumps as of last Friday. And I will say I was not sure what kind of reaction we would get. And everything right now has been positive. I haven't the only negative is we need them larger. We need, but there was a lot of questions from and I've been in contact with a lot of people on Wellers Bridge. Their concerns about what noise would it make? Is it going to be effective? And everything that I got from the weekend is people are slowing down. They're not drastic. They're low profile, but they're effective. And over the weekend, we got a lot of, I got a lot of emails, thanking the board for those decisions. I would like to extend them a little bit more. They're a little too short where they are. In some areas they were good, in others they're not. So I'm probably going to add a couple more pieces to it, so they're a little bit more complete on the road to keep people from driving around them, basically, because they're going to start damaging the road. And if they're driving on the rumble strips to avoid it, that's not helping either, because it's just making more noise. But so far so good. They seem to have done the trick. And then we're going to see now, Monday the 13th is when the hardwired speed signs go into place, and then we'll actually be able to get some data from that. So we're going to be able to record speed, volume, how many cars, when we're going to have those peaks, and we can get a little bit more data. So these are the ones that we're replacing the ones that were removed a while back. So pretty good so far.
Okay.
Town hall upgrades is next on the agenda. We did have a meeting where we're going to be required now to do two-factor authentication as our new security insurance rolls out. It's not even going to be an option. I was hoping we could reduce our premiums a little bit, but it's going to be a mandate. So we're already getting everyone set up with that. We're continuing with our automated payroll through paychecks. This Friday, cabinets will be delivered for the kitchen, so we'll be removing those and start the next installation. And just as a note, I want to give credit to Melanie Jellin, who is selling transfer station tags up there. I don't know if you've seen her yet, but great compliments from the town. It's convenient and she's friendly, and she's doing a wonderful job up there.
And I went in and I saw Jimmy the other day. Oh, it was like yesterday, maybe. It seems like a long time ago. But I said, "How's it going?" And he said, "Really, really well." I mean, people are complying. There aren't any complaints. And that info that went out for people who volunteer on boards and commissions have been coming in, and so he's very pleased too.
Excellent. And this will be the last year of doing everything manually. All this information is being recorded. And now next year, we're going to have a database where you'll just kind of continue your permits. You'll be able to pay online. It'll all be automated. So next year should be very easy. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. Okay. Any questions on anything with Town Hall?
Nope.
Next is West Shalaby's Road access. This is where they wanted to, there was a homeowner that wanted us to extend the road about 500 feet. This is the west side of Shalaby, so we're looking off Baker Road, just past Lumba Drive. And in council with Gail, our town attorney, she felt that the best way to do that was licensed permission access. So this is a revocable license, but it basically gives access, and then we keep and retain property of the road. And that way, if we ever had to complete it, because there are other parcels on that, it's, you know, it's an unpaved, unmaintained road, basically not even an access at this point, but it would just be a revocable licensed permission. So that's where we are at this point. And this has been going on for quite a few months, these discussions. So I'm waiting to hear from the homeowner if that's what they want to do. But that's
So that people in town still have the right to walk and ride and use
Absolutely.
that as everyone has been doing. So
Exactly.
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
it's just a license to use.
yeah,
So it's not even an easement or anything else. It's a license to use. And she had, Gail had some history with that. It's something that they did similarly in Woodbury as well.
okay.
So that's something that she already had preformed.
Okay.
The next is the most exciting thing as we head into summer, bridge and culvert replacement. So Squire Road is going forward. I went to wetlands last week, and hopefully next meeting we will get an approval on that. Right now we are at 6-foot culverts. We're looking to start at the end of July, and we're looking at a 2 to 3 week project max. And this would also straighten out the road. And I'm still waiting for actual figures on the cost of the culverts. They are, there's a graduated angle at the end, so I'm waiting for what the price is going to be on that. And then we have gotten a couple calls because we've put the signs up for Davenport. So on June 6th, 17th, Davenport will close down. They do have NJR, our contractor, has 150 days to complete per contract. So that's the date that's up there. So it says November 27th or something to that effect. Is the date that's there. That's the contractual agreement. In talking with NJR and Cardinal, they're going to obviously move it along. The whole idea is to get it done before school starts.
Yeah.
So it's starting the day that it ends, and they're going to do everything possible to get it done before then. But people are already calling, complaining saying this is really going to be closed till November. That's kind of the worst case scenario. NJR does not expect it to take it that long.
Okay.
But that's all that I have at the moment on bridges and culverts, other than our other maintenance of just small ones around town. Budgeted capital expense. We're starting to work on truck 8. It's under construction at the moment, which is the 2001 Mack. This week, I also started getting estimates on sheetrock for public works and painting of the interior. And the prices, I'm just waiting to hear something. It's like every business right now, it's very, very hard to get contractors to respond or even show up. So we're finding that just about everywhere. But that's where we are basically on that. And then we are on to fire marshal report. This is a May and June report because we did not have it last month. Office is continuing to work with Second Act Farm on their sprinkler system. It has now been repaired, and the inspection is scheduled for June 15th to confirm the repairs. There is a correction report from Raven Rock's Road's sprinkler system, and several blasting permits have been signed over the last 2 months. Office requested a change out of smoke detectors on a residence on Wellers Bridge Road that had become a nuisance. It's a barn, and they had several false alarms, so that person was spoke to. And the office is taking monthly training courses, continuing education courses as needed to be safe certified. And then other than that, it's been an extremely uneventful month. Other than some questions on standardization because of homeowners insurance policies that are renewing. So she's had a few requests. Other than that, that is the fire marshal report.
Okay. Should we check in with Todd?
Yeah, is Todd there? Todd? Yeah, I don't mind jumping back if you'd like to give a report.
Julie, is he locked out maybe? We can't unmute?
Huh.
Oh, well, next month.
Okay. Okay, so in this resident trooper report, and I'm going to go over a little bit with this because he has somewhat of an extended report here. Over the regular, just the regular statistics, 8 criminal and non-criminal investigations, 2 accidents investigated, 1 DWI, 10 infractions issued, 25 written warnings issued for a variety of motor vehicle offenses, and 233 miscellaneous request services. But they went through, he's putting his school plan together. And since May, and this is for booth-free elementary, 14 South Street in Roxbury, approximately 75 students. Since 5/24/22, we've had 19 enhanced security patrol check numbers created for school security checks. Met with the outgoing superintendent, Megan Bennett, and discussed plans on moving forward. Region 12 has agreed to look into the new school radios that would be able to be monitored by troop at the troop level, and Matt has put Miss Bennett in touch with utility communications to start this process. Region 12 will be hiring an interim superintendent for the hiring process. Also at Booth Free School, our principal is retiring, and met with Emily Rue, and he has scheduled a meeting on 6:30 to discuss the school district safety plans. Booth Free School is equipped with interior and exterior cameras and will be acquiring an account so they may be viewable at the troop. Barring emergency situations, we will only be able to view exterior cameras on a normal basis. In the event of an emergency, Region 12's IT person, Vince Vicenzi, will grant us access to the interior cameras. When it goes live, we'll need to supply the information to dispatch. Region 12 currently has 1 SRO that covers 5 schools in 3 towns. Currently, Region 12 does not have any plans to hire more SROs or armed security. When asked why, it was told that the state's plan was to eliminate SROs, the SRO program. After updated floor plan has been delivered to Troop A's intranet site, will notify other resident troopers in the town that they can update their form as well. He also has a note to remind residents to lock their car doors, do not leave their keys or any valuables in the car. There has been a local uptick, not just in this area, but surrounding areas. They've had stolen cars broken into. We had a little bit of activity here as well. So I put out a public broadcast to just remind people that, to be safe.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the resident trooper report. Obviously, the school plan, in lieu of what's going on in the world, is a topic. So I'm glad that we've taken this initiative to look at the plan and cover it.
Okay.
Any questions?
Nope.
No,
Okay. Any other business?
No.
I think that's
Right.
it.
Oh, one
Okay.
thing, Pat.
Go ahead.
When we rent the park to private parties, are the bathrooms off limits to the public?
That's always, that's not something that they are, because they're used for that pavilion rental. That's always how it's been in the past.
Really?
That's not something that we've changed, but that's something that was before. If you're renting the pavilion, you're renting the bathrooms.
So there's I was just over there today and I didn't see it, but I didn't notice. Is there a porta potty there too?
Yes.
There is.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. I
There
wanted
is.
it back.
But somebody tried to go in with their little kid and they said, you can't go in there. It's a private party. And I thought that's not right. This is a public park and the public should be able to use those bathrooms at any time because they paid for them.
Agreed.
I think though, it depends now how you look at it. If this is a party and we're in a pandemic with COVID, it could be a party that has made everybody test and so that they feel safe. And then they have somebody on the outside coming in using the bathroom and sharing the space. I can just see that might, in this particular time of our existence.
Yeah, but we have this all the time. This had nothing to
Mhm.
do with COVID.
Yeah.
And again, it's hard to regulate people. The people there see a mother bringing her little girl into a bathroom. I mean, really let her go in.
Why would
shouldn't-
somebody stop that?
I
I'm
know,
surprised
but
that
they
even
did,
came up.
and
I'm
that,
glad
you
you
know,
did, brought it up.
they wanted to wash their hands, and you can't do that in a porta potty unless you stick
No.
your hands in the.
Right. I can see that.
And I just thought, well, I'll bring it up because I don't agree. It's a public place. What
Mm.
we're renting is the park for the function. We're not renting that they have total control of the whole park.
Or of
And
the whole, the building, they're renting the
Yeah.
building. Which would include, like, whatever, what does it say? I mean, where, is it written somewhere what it's supposed to be?
well, I can't see how it could say it because this is new. The bathrooms are pretty new.
Yeah, they've always kind of done that you were renting the bathrooms as well. So, they're opening up the
It's only been a
doors.
couple
for
years
that.
though.
Yeah,
Who did
correct.
that? I don't remember our board
Before
voting
my
for
time.
that.
It's before my time. And there may not have been a discussion, Russ.
Ah,
It may never have come up.
I mean, those bathrooms have been there for a while.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is not,
I must be getting old. I don't know.
I was like, Russ, it's been more than 2 years.
Has it?
Yes,
Wow, time is flying by.
it's been a few years. We'll have to look up and see when that was built. I remember the hole in the ground. But yeah, that was a while.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna ask some questions and look into it because I would agree if you have a child and you're there, is it
Yeah.
gonna kill you to just, to use the bathroom and just be aside? You can almost just come in that side entrance and just divert to the side. I wouldn't see that should be an issue. But I'll start asking and we can talk about it again.
Yeah.
Good.
All right, good.
I want to see if it's written, and it'll just take me a moment to pull the rental agreement. And
Yeah.
that's something that we can definitely discuss. I would agree. I wouldn't want a town resident not be able to use the bathrooms at the park. It's a public park. I'm on your.
I mean, the men are going to use the porta potty, but the women,
Especially with a child, you
Yeah.
see that image and you're like, oh my God, that would be
Yeah, no,
embarrassing.
right.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
camping's another story. It's part of it, but
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay, I'll try one more time. Todd Wheeler, are you there?
he must be sleeping. That's all I can figure out.
I want to give him every opportunity. He's doing a great job. I know they have parking coming up, the driveway coming up soon. And I'm sure he's going to give an update on that. We have agreed that Public Works will be used as a staging area during that time. So the back gate will unfortunately be left open, but we have to have quick access. So they're going to be using the Public Works garage during that time.
Okay.
It's only for a few days and we'll have the time before that.
When is that?
We don't know yet. I don't know. And I was hoping to get an update from him, but it will be the next couple of weeks, I believe.
Okay. And Julie, did you say something? Were you?
Sorry, Todd still isn't responding to,
Okay.
I've been asking him to unmute about 4 times now.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Well, that's it. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Have a great
You
night,
also-
everyone. Have
Bye.
a great month.
Thank you very much.
Talk to you soon.
Okay.
good night.